Multiplying and dividing sign fractions. If you do not have this worksheet, please stop by my room D3 to pick this up so you can fill this in. All right, so when you're multiplying or dividing fractions, the first thing you need to do if you have mixed numbers is to change them to improper fractions. The second thing you need to do is then if it's a division problem, of course, we have to find a common denominator. And then when we find that common denominator, you know that you're only dividing the numerators. Then you multiply your answer, write your answer in lowest terms. You can't reduce numbers that are next to each other, like 2/3, 3/4, 4/5, and so forth. And you multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and don't forget your integer rules. So that's the only thing new that you're really going to have to remember is those integer rules. So if we look here, this is a multiplication problem. First thing I need to do is I've got a mixed number, so I need to change it to an improper fraction. So that means I've got -4/5 times, and then that would be 7/2, because 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. Multiply straight across, and I get 28/10. So this is just like regular multiplication. The only difference is now I need to remember about my negatives. So since I have only one negative in the problem, my answer is going to be negative. Now I simplify, and my answer would be 14/5, but that, of course, is negative. So -14/5. If you wanted to change it to a mixed number, you may. It would be -2 4/5, but unless it specifies, now we're getting into the kind of math where you don't change it into a mixed number. You do simplify, but you don't change it into a mixed number. Okay, second one is 5 1/5, which is 26/5, divided by -21/10. Common denominator here would be tenths, so it'd be 52/10 divided by -21/10. Because I have one negative in the problem, my answer will be negative, and I just remember that I just am dividing the numerators, so the answer is 52/21. And that's it. I'm done. -52/21. So the answer here was -14/5, and this one is -52/21. And then here's this last one I'm going to do with you. First thing we do is we make it into an improper fraction, so it's going to be -14/3, -3/7. Multiply straight across. I have two negatives, so my answer will be positive. And then with multiplication and multiplication only, you can do something called simplifying before you multiply. So let's first multiply this across. It would be 42/21, which of course is 2. If you wanted to, though, you could look at, so 14, so 14 is in its prime factor form is 2 times 7 over 3 times 3 over 7. If I rewrote this and switched these factors around, these prime factors around, I would be left with 2 times 3 times 7 in the numerator over 3 times 7 in the denominator. And what we can do is, because 3 over 3 equals 1 and 7 over 7 equals 1, that leaves us with 2. So there's a way that you can look at a math problem before you multiply it, only multiplication, and you can look at what's called the means and look to see if they have a common factor. So the greatest common factor of 3 is 3, so 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then you can look at your extremes, which are the ones on the outside, and we can go, they have a greatest common factor of 7. 14 divided by 7 leaves me with 2, and 7 divided by 7 leaves me with 1, and that's another way you can do it. But if you're more comfortable, just multiply straight across and then simplify, and you will get the correct answer. So do the rest of the left side of this worksheet. We're going to do this part of the worksheet this upcoming week on March 7th. So I will see you on the 7th. I hope you have a great weekend. And as I said, I'll see you on the 7th.